Come here. Quick. Did you hear about that pill that can not only make you look good, feel great, lose weight, take years of aging off of you, but also only costs $20 a month? You haven't? Well, neither have I, because it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all kind of solution to your problems. What we're talking about today is not taking a lazy approach to your body, to your mental health, to weight loss even. These things take effort, and you shouldn't be relying on other people, relying on doctors and nutritionists and things like that to help figure out what plan works best for you. It's a concept of being your own specialist, okay? And by that I mean we're not taking the lazy way out, okay? So we're not actually going to be relying on what society says works, what your friends and neighbors and even family says works for them, because that just isn't realistically going to be working for you. Everyone is so very different in so many different ways. Physiologically, psychologically, we're all exceptionally unique individual beings. And we need to take that into account. So when you have these, like, just for one small example, dieting fads, things like Atkins diet and a keto diet and all these different things out there. Yes, certain things are structured in certain ways to accommodate people, but a very, very small percentage. What they're not telling you is that these are actually going to impact approximately 5 to 10% of the people that actually try it. And by impact, I don't mean that it's necessarily going to fix their overall body shape and general health. It's actually going to just give them some benefit. But that's at that stage. Okay, so that's at that point in their life. It may not work months down the road. It may not work years down the road. It's all going to be dependent on that individual's physiology. Nothing is set in stone as a one-size-fits-all solution. But it boils down to how we want to look. Literally looking at ourselves in the mirror, wearing certain things, even if you maybe go to a mall, a store, whatever it may be, and trying certain things on and really decide for yourself, not getting anyone else's opinion. Decide for you if you enjoy seeing yourself that way. If you do and that brings you happiness, then great. That's one step towards your better sense of well-being. Another example would be foods. Taking it upon yourself to figure out which foods give you benefit. So don't rely on people saying, "Oh, well, the kale and goji berries is the end all be all. You have to eat those in order to maintain good health." No, that may work for person A, person B, person C, but it may not work for D through Z, because we're all so unique. So you need to actually take some effort. Even journal down some of these things. Write down day to day. You eat, say, a particular meal plan. Working out an actual meal plan for yourself for a week. Try to maintain the same types of foods during that week. Jot down how you feel that same day, the next day, and so on. It can help you to determine which foods are doing what for you. And that may be that what you ate gave you more energy. Or maybe it made you feel sluggish. Maybe it gave you actual pain. Because we can have very realistic, very strong inflammatory responses to foods, to environmental factors, to a lot of things. So taking those things into account, it can help you to figure out what foods are right for you. No dietitian is going to be able to tell you what you should be eating because your body is the only thing that knows. You try to eat specifically something that someone else says, for one, that may cause you stress because now you're not eating the things that you enjoy, which is also not good. You start to eat things that you don't enjoy, you increase your stress, you increase some negative things like some negative hormones, like your cortisol levels, and you do that for too long and it can cause damaging effects. It doesn't make any sense. You have to take it upon yourself to figure this out. Just I like myself. I've actually started to do some of these things and then figure out what I like, what I don't like, what things cause an impact to me. And I know some of those things now. Like for example, I know wheat products, not all, but the vast majority of them cause me a great deal of distress. Gastric, and I have joint pains the next day and the following day even. I can get almost like a sluggish mindset, sinus issues. Like I know that I have certain responses to certain foods now, and I know that I may not want to completely avoid them because that's going to overload me with stress as well, knowing that I can never have that again. That's definitely not something that you ever want to do, is put undue stress on you, unrealistic expectations on yourself, that you're never going to have this particular thing again. No, it's something where now you know that you can actually reduce maybe the amount of that particular thing. And by reducing, you'll start to see improvements in other aspects of your life. It's about that balance between what makes you happy and what makes you healthy. Now, if you want a good example of just one example of how different and how distinctly we respond to eating certain things. And that revolves around our microbiome, which would be like the gut health, the gut flora. It's so different. It's person to person, it's very, very different. The ratio of good to bad bacteria, the amount of a particular type of bacteria, and the overall health of that system varies so much, it's as different as a fingerprint. That bacteria is very responsible for helping process those foods and nutrients and vitamins that you're trying to take into your system. And that can make a difference between being a sensitive and a sloth. And by that I mean somebody who really can like metabolize and digest and get the most out of the foods, absolute maximum end of that threshold. And then you have the sloths that get very little out of it. So they actually have to eat more of that thing in order to get the right amount of nutrients and vitamins. So that's just one example, but our body's composed of so many other factors, neurochemicals, hormones, even genetics. So, how we are made up on a cellular level can impact everything, including foods and mental state and things like that. But moving on to another aspect of where I'm saying to kind of be your own specialist is also in how you take care of yourself. So workouts, you also have to take into account that yes, exercise is important for everyone, but the type of exercise is going to vary from person to person. I don't care who tells you what, that this is exactly how you're going to exercise and then you're going to bulk up and look like Mr. Universe. No, that's not going to work either, because it's also a very unrealistic idea, because of how complex your physiology is going to determine how you put on muscle mass, how you lose weight, things like that, how you respond to the actual exertion of the exercise itself, so how much stress you're actually putting on your body. That varies men to women in a very drastic way, and like men, maybe need to, in general, do more intense workouts for a longer period of time. Women, that's not going to work for. You're just going to basically beat them up, for lack of a better word, and they're going to just get more stressed out than ever before and not see the results. Somebody maybe who's physically fit, that's a woman as well, maybe wouldn't see that same impact at that time of getting that kind of beat up and maybe seeing results because they're already fit. But the thing is, things change, especially in women. They have the hormonal changes that happen throughout their life, with these different peaks and valleys, with all these different hormones that can have a huge impact on weight loss and mood and overall sense of well-being. So how you work out can make a difference too. Know what works for you. Know your limitations. Don't push yourself too hard. Look at a lot of different types of workouts, lots of different types of exercise. Because maybe what works for you is walking a lot per day with a little bit of weights a few times a week. Maybe for you it's doing just powerlifting and you feel great and you don't do a lot of cardio. Maybe it's a combination of like Pilates. Maybe it's you're going to go out and just do physical activities like tennis, basketball, whatever it may be, and that's what makes you feel good and actually keep fit. You will actually know based off of how your body responds to that stimulus. Only you. Again, it's not something that somebody can tell you, go ahead and do this and it will work, because that is absolute garbage. It will not. You'll have wasted your time and you'll just stress yourself out because you're trying to fit a mold that does not fit you. Other things as well. So if you want to see a good example of what I'm talking about in terms of how different, how complex, how unique you are, go to a festival, stand in the middle of a very crowded area and just look around. Do you see 100,000 faces staring back at you? 1,000 yous looking back at you? No. If you do, I would recommend getting medical attention as quickly as possible. But on a serious note, no. They're unique. Everyone's different. Just on the surface. And then imagine what's happening underneath. It's 10, 20, 30, maybe even 1,000 times different than you. Yes, there are certain things that are the same. We all have to breathe and we all have circulatory systems and all that, true. But how those systems work are very different. And we may or may not be, genetically predisposed to certain things and certain factors. But we have to, again, not be lazy in our approach to our life, not lazy in our approach to our overall well-being. And we have one life and one body, and we need to figure it out. We need to take the time to figure it out. Once you do that, the rest is easy. You follow your own roadmap towards health and happiness, and the rest of those pieces just kind of fall into place. It's not an exact science here. This is just something where, through trial and error, you find the keys to your success. Failure here is really not something to be frowned upon. This is what's going to happen. You're going to fail several times. Very likely. Because it's unlikely that you're going to find that key set of foods, that particular workout, what you like to wear. Because it may take several trips to a mall or a store to actually find something that you're really happy with. But never just allow yourself to conform to what others say should be. And that's including society, friends, family, even your spouse. Only you can know what's going to make you happy and ultimately what's going to make you healthy, physically and mentally. So just some food for thought. I hope you all enjoyed what I had to say today. By all means, definitely share, like, subscribe, and lots of love. Thank you again for listening. Again, my name is Jay, and this is The Green Onion. Bye for now.